You're still watching the AM show right here on Joy News. You know, it's just 29 days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. And this morning, we're taking you to the heart of Accra. And it's the diversity and cosmopolitan nature of this place that has made it a hotbed for politics, with the police flagging it as one of the flashpoints for electoral violence in the last elections. This morning, we're taking you to Odododiodoo constituency to gauge the mood of constituents ahead of the elections. But before we go, Benjamin is standing by with some statistics to put this in perspective, what the voting pattern has been in that constituency. Benjamin, tell us more.
Well, that constituency, Odododiodoo, is an interesting one if you look at the voting patterns, both for presidential and parliamentary elections. So come with me. Very briefly, if you look at the presidential voting pattern, you would see this blue line and the green one, the blue one representing the NPP, the green one representing the NDC. It's interesting because if you go as far back as 1996, you will see a pattern. The NPP in the presidential election securing about 44% of the votes, almost 45% of the votes. This would shoot up in 2000 to 50+%, and then there would be a decline all the way from 2004 to 2020, below 50%, which would mean that the voting pattern in that constituency has favored the NDC. But if you come to the NDC, you would realize that in 1996, it garnered 53.2% of the votes. Then there was a dip in the year 2000 to 46.6%. And since that time, it has been on the ascendancy, 51.9% in 2004. The gap increased to 57.2% sometime after 2008. 62.4% and 55.38% in 2020. So you would look at a high around 2016 of 62.4%. That's for the presidential, and that gives you a picture about how keenly contested, because if you look at it really, 55% versus 44%, that's about a 10 percentage point. It's not something you can play with. But when we flip it and look at the parliamentary bit in there, let's go to the parliamentary bit. You would see that the trend has not been too different. In 1996, the NDC won the parliamentary, though with what I believe is a smaller margin, and it was just a 3.5 percentage point difference on the parliamentary front. In 2000, just as Kufuor came, the parliamentary candidate of the MPP also won with 51.4%, and a dip there for the NDC by about 6 percentage points, 6.2 to be exact, 43.9%. But since that time, the presidential, race, what has been coming through, has also come through for the parliamentary. So you would see that while the MPP tanked from 51.4% to 46, 41, 36, 41, and 45, which is not bad, the NDC has moved from 43 to 52, 55, 63. Remember that crucial year, 57 and now 53.58. If you look at the figures there at the end, for the presidential and the parliamentary, they are almost the same for the NDC and also similar for the MPP. The question is, heading into election 2024, what would this hot constituency do in the election? The pattern favors the NDC, but the numbers have been declining. The closer they get, you see that the MPP is catching up in that constituency. What does it mean? That is the question. Sweetie Abochi.
Thank you so much, Ben, for putting that in perspective. So I engaged the constituents, specifically at Jamestown, and we're looking at what issues would influence voter choice, what are they doing about it, and really, how are they voting this year? Let's take you to Jamestown, where we had that interaction. Odododiodoo constituents, we are here to gauge the concerns of the citizens, and because we are engaged Jamestown, we'll be mixing the English with Ga. So follow us. Good morning. Thank you all so much for joining us on this is called Citizens Microphone. So this is your microphone. Politicians will hear you out, and then they can factor in the promises they are making for you. Boji, spokesperson for Paramount Chief. I'll start with you, Ben. How are you doing here in the constituency, and what are your concerns?
By His grace, I'm doing well. Our concerns is, I wish the government or the government officials will not even bring ballot box in this area at all. I wish. My reason is, water is life. And we are here as a gang in this community without water. Our taps is not flowing. We've been buying water in cars and in cars. In fact, we are feeling that the government have neglected us. Because when you are living as a human being without water, it means you are dead.
But how long has this been going on?
Oh, it's over 10, 15 years. I am telling you honestly. They know, but they don't mind us. They don't mind. Our tap is not flowing at all. And, you buy you buy water in a water tank. You might not know even what is in the water. Yeah. And you are forced to drink because you don't have choice. Or you should buy pure water and then a bottled water. And you know how much it costs. In this community, there's no work also. We don't have specific work that we have been doing here. It's a fishing. You'll be here one day and the government will then come and tell you that the sea has been locked. Nobody should go to a sea to go and bring fish. One way or the other, you can understand because they agree with our leaders, the fishermen leaders, that maybe sometimes the fish must grow in the sea. Agree. But then, stopping that, you must give us something to do, to live. Because the little that we've been getting from the sea is not even enough to take care of us and our children. And then that thing will be locked. And we don't have access to water. Our living here is very, very difficult. So I wish the government or the leaders of the government will never even bring ballot box in our area.
Ben, but voting is your civil responsibility. So, of course, you have water issues and unemployment or lack of jobs for the young people to do because most of you are fisher folks. Let me come to you, Aisha. Aisha, Ben ke water ke nichumo be. Mini ekon.
Fine, Beni daddy we nyuma shishi shine. Ake wo odododiodoo ne no wayo bi won need ne kema jani bi wa. Eshishiji tomo beni da achonye na ewie wonan papa ni wonu agbene wen gbeken bi ehun ananu chimo papa ya bala keke no ko kan hie ya ko eja keshi eni san echon ni lenwe ke ye ni na awomlan wona light papa wona kan papa mi ni wona gbeken bi enwe no chimo hu be
okay nye na kan papa, what do you mean? Nye be kan e be
light off wona light off ni agbene nwe amebe no chimo na me chuo e wo ka tehie awomlan abanye ketelebi ka ti lebi ka ogbolo bi fan obi ba be na yu okechon gbeken bi fe awie gbeken bi e chake jake amebe no kokpapa ni support ame ya Odododiodoo name.
So, quick translation, she's talking about indiscipline because, well, the water situation, she rehashed that, and she talked about lack of jobs for the young people, which is growing indiscipline among them. So they don't sleep early because there's constant power outages, and there's thefts and crime because, there's really nothing to do. And they say the devil does find work for the idle hands. Let's go to, is it Papa? Baba, what will you add to this?
Like my sister was saying in my uncle, it's the same thing. Because if you're in a family about 4 in the family and there's no water, you fetch 1 gallon of water, 2 cedi, 50 pesos. You fetch 1 gallon of water, 2 cedi, 50 pesos, and you are 4 in the family. Imagine if you are not working, how will you be able to cater all of them? And this water is life, and it is disturbing us too much in this neighborhood. So we are pleading for the government to see and have solution on it.
Well, I'm curious to know that, okay, before I come to you, since this Fourth Republic, since 1993 or so, you've always voted for one particular party. I'm talking about the NDC. They've always won in the Odododiodoo constituency. It was only in 2000 that I think NPP won. if you've had water crisis, water situation for, you said 10, 15 years now, have you brought this to the attention of the government, your leaders, and what are they saying about it? Let me start with you.
Tomobeno you on a ganimo. She began be na me bale neke game a son na ga wo phone no bomo sumo no twumo neke bet ne na ga wo phone no bomo sumo no twumo ka began bi bi ye 80,000 80,000 bi ane ni o chele aka e bu pure water mi e ba ka bu aka e ba because of ho le no ko nle yin shika e phone no na ye te fe ton ba tule no advice le aka no if you wrong me eta Sunday pen.
Well, he's also rehashing the indiscipline. They're saying that because of betting and games on the phones, these young ones, when they win some small bet winnings, it's difficult to speak to them, you know, discipline them, even send them on errands and so on and so forth, because, well, they have money on their phones, and you are not giving them anything. You're not providing jobs. You're not providing a safe place for them to live and thrive. And so that's also just to rehash the part about indiscipline. But Ben, I want to find out from you, why do you think that this water crisis has reached the attention of the leaders, but nothing is being done about it?
I would like to express myself in Ghana this time because my people are listening to me. Often, nusane no you on na no be question kwa question. What a politician saying yada ne won't vote one party ni da ne she I mean when you walk confront what can you so na ke ni tu mo baby e wo amebalaka oblanya bi e keska wo no kwa ne wo yen fa ne ekole wo le no ni ya no ni ekole wo ba sumo no wo fe ke aya han gbe kan bi a ska fi 20 Ghana 100 Ghana because no tu mo be wo ka me ye ke by force amete am so wo ka me wi amele am promise wo ka me ba me fe no
10-15 years is not too much for the same thing to be happening.
I am telling you honestly, it is about 10-15 it can be more. Seriously, we have water issues here, very serious. So, minekele me kake ballot board ba machine be me vote because monoba vote anle e ba ke bo ke ba fi ke ba efi ni ke ba na efi wen onyo jile onyo mo le ja ke kule no aba ya me party ba power no kokele ave gidi po bo den ta ba mo.
They don't want to vote this year because it's the same cycle, non-ending cycle. They make promises. They tell these politicians, oh, leave him. These politicians, their grievances, they make promises. They come to power and they don't do anything about it. And so they don't even want to vote at all this year because they think it's just going to be a repeated cycle. I've seen some young men here joining us. I want to take your views as well. We are gauging your concerns as citizens going to the polls with just some 40 days left for us to vote. Your elders, should I say, have spoken about water crisis. They've spoken about lack of jobs for the youth. They've spoken about indiscipline, also because there's nothing for the young people to be doing. What do you add to this?
Because noni onukpa leaders anukwale ameye anukwale ha youth hani wo he ame wo ye amba malio wa ababa go t-shirt 20 Ghana ni wo follow ya demonstration after that be no ohia ba mi bana ka twa me ko tane tun me ko epla mi no wa me dwen o man bi ai wono wa vote ke o continue no ba vote na maya parliament ke shebe amele wodon wa fine wo miefu nunjio yonjio ke red ni sa ne ke ye president wa vote one red ni blue ni sa ke ye president wa vote one blue.
Okay, Isake, what does that mean? Help me, I didn't get that well.
Yeah.
Okay, if it is possible. Okay, so he's also basically saying that these politicians have a way of giving you t-shirts, 20 cedis, I mean small amounts of money, and then making you think they're on your side, so you vote for them. But then the same thing, you vote for them, they don't do anything for you. But he acknowledges that it's important that we vote and put, you know, the right leaders in office. And you're saying that if it is red, if it is possible, what? Something about red and blue. Okay, sir. Can you do that in English for me?
Possible for we to vote for a red person, we vote. If it is possible for we to vote for a blue person, we vote. That is what he's saying.
Okay, that's what you're saying. So you also want the politicians to start acting on their promises that they're making for you. Okay, so that's basically it. Otherwise, you will not vote. But what would it take to change your mind this year to vote? Because you have to vote. Your elder is saying that they won't vote. What would it take? What can we do? We just have 42 or so days to go.
Tap flow. We need water to live our life. Water is life. Life is water. We are pleading to the leaders that they should see to us so that we can have potable water to drink and to use for our other things.
Okay. There's another young man here.
Okay. Good morning to our viewers and then our listeners. My opinion is basically on traditional leaders. It's not always about our politicians. It's sometimes basically on our traditional leaders because we have opinion leaders. I think I can yakucho name woman cheme and I think I can politicians being it the MP alone ameje wekumi ni gamenji ame no okay what up flu mini jino ni wo mancheme ke wo wulo mo amefio ye no it's beyond politics. No crisis any face off it's beyond politics. Keji mokogbo during the moment of campaign. Ofanemo is not coming from a family. What's the family doing about it? Nothing. So at the end of the day, it's also comes back to what youth and what you're being. It's hard time. We need to, bring out the truth. Let's face the opinion leaders in the community. What goes straight to, our traditional leaders. Woman cheme, ameteshi. Na mewawo. Because keji no kubonyote no. Weku eno ni one flop. The moment ni youth in Bope benoya nye ba kuchomi because youth niji wo oblanye woji future woji noya. Wokeji noya be ogbe agbe wo. There's nothing. Last 4 years agboye Odododiodoo over na mimbi was in a TV station. It's nationwide. Wo fe won kwe wo nuaka agboye Odododiodoo. Mimbi sani ake so now me happen. Madam Presenter, me no nuake afi. What's the question? Have you heard anything against many Begbomo? Money buwe o nuake family ba out ake ba wi ake $1. So you can this year once and they are making the promises they have been doing, and so as I'm telling you, death will be coming if the traditional leaders and opinion leaders are not rising up to fight for us. Then the youth will fight, and if the youth fight, it means there will be a problem. So this is my view that the opinion leaders should try and then come and then help us also, and then the traditional leaders.
I think that's quite clear. He's talking about the traditional leaders, opinion leaders, who are actually the first point of call. If something happens in the community, we are first looking to families and the people who, are leading the various communities. We actually have the spokesperson of the Paramount Chief here. I'll come to you to respond to some of the things he said, but I do want to take your opinion, and then we'll continue the question.
Okay. If you feel New York and Wakuchu Eminji. Wo gbejiano to pi ni wo leader say ameje moko sande whether many of your politicians say ke wo leader say mancheme wolo moy onupa iweku me na me holo shan jame moko ye ma sande no ni ma denje sumo no ne fio one ke okwe wo osha clinic anyo mogo be wale na kele ya hospital ye osha clinic achiro de fin ni keji okamugo jebi ekete kolebu ni hotel direct aba shuebu no sani oya osha clinic onyo ya le direct baja abo wo la ba ke ngbo je o nje Jamestown mi namo abo wo lo aka oba bie no sani school jeme onupa ni ko ma no ke maji acheme ame ingbe ayin jeme ni baba wo wala yi one ni wo fi o program ye gane ake politics here ekulofin abako wobanu oba wanye keke Manchester keke Brian Bieska keji buko ye
ni tumo yala ne abanya fe ebuko keka ko akenya mokome personal keji etuni yejeme na batwa ball ne hiska lelenche ba e kotogumi politics e ko hale na kanu akawa ke o zunla yo ba ma e ko le na ka oyin bola no te wa chi osue ahebo ska ko te je ganyo bi kome bejeme ni etuni yejeme akona kenya mo flee na etu eni na genwa politicians onukpa iye ni sana meteji na me hie na me koni gan wona wo gan ese no ni die enyo onake beni macha agbo na ayo jemene abanya fe yala 3 alo 2 so onukpa ewe noko ano ye jeme mogo ewe akobuko mogo ewe kemu via motesi e ba chigbe no ni ka chigbe ebe gbege bi efe ni sana me holo tuji ami ame holo hia jami na me na heko na me susu ni aye me fi baba yen egbe no kemu ko yanu tumo na agbe police ni yo alo mogo ambulance yo na chigbe na agbe onumisi no he ni wo fi o program ye gane esa no onupa teji na meta o eko ahawo eja ke je no fi anu wa fi ye gbe no onumisi agbene me ni fi politics the whole Ghana fi school na ma fi agbe fi na si Odododiodoo na pe party go ba ye another 8 years agbe school na eko we se ba ye 8 years agbe school na Odododiodoo na pe shagbe dan soman Russia AP agbe fi na si Odododiodoo na pe school na mama ofin agbe na especially e kinkane abu wo yakunta do keje bia ne ke ya ebe English alo bu Odododiodoo ne abu wo yakunta no won pa onupa e fai keje ame bowo tuwe ame fa ame nani agbene nutumu ni se na onupa anye wo yin ke ya akani gbege bi e wo ame hino onupa en wo ame hino obeda agbe e wonyo won pa ame fai wa ame wo ame hino awo.
So 3 things. He's talking about access to hospitals, funerals and other events in the roads that blocks, easy flow of human beings in the community when they are going about their daily life, and the traditional leaders who are not leading the charge to demand accountability from these politicians. Did I get all right? And then uncompleted schools. That's a very important one because they've been here for 8 years now. It was started, it hadn't been completed. Another party came in power, a school has been abandoned, and the students are just suffering and all that. So they're pleading with government to come to their aid, otherwise they're not voting this year. Aisha, you've been saying anukwale.
Anukwale ni yuo. Bena yuo nyongma shishi ni. Ejake mi pogbe kenji mi kenye ba wo mi. Sempe school ni machine. Amunya kwa ngbe sempe school na. Ni mi to ma bi onukpa ni ji wo yin lo e. Ta flacha ke an show na nga mini this is monaka nga show e da keke be na form mami for me ina kwa ka nga show dan ne won show na nga won smo na cho won show shishi ke ki ke lo na bagbe o na ke an won yin nye lo e ni won na menya me kamera nya machine de ne keni bi ai sempe school e machike de che anya kwa gbe na be ke bi pie ya school awusa go mi le una kan Niko yebi na me ya school ta flache betomo ote no batu keke won pa sai onukpa metesi na me fe ekun awo she won gbo.
She doesn't understand why they will lock the sea or prevent them from fishing on certain days, right? They want a proper education on that and why it is even necessary to do that. But even before this lock and key started, Aisha, there are days that I am sure now because I need. So you just want to understand why, the reason behind the locking of the seas. It appears that at the center of all the problems you have, the traditional leaders or opinion leaders and community influencers like yourself are supposed to be leading the charge to demand accountability from these politicians, talking about funerals and weddings and the rest in the roads. These are things that community leaders or the traditional rulers can fix. They're talking about debts, during the election season and demanding that our politicians and government actually accounts to you what comes out of those debts. So what are you doing as traditional rulers to ensure that at least you are doing your part? And then if the government is not minding you, you can tell your people that, well, we did A, B, C. What are you doing?
So, Mike, what's your argument here? She, you may come and I really issue my cheme. I can meji na we look and honey I can imagine Paramount chief or ma we ekomai. Si jane won fi argument. Kaji nyeme aka ke mancheme efi no koe. For example, ke o achin lolligbe ni manche baka ke yala na fi oje akpa ne kole me fo ameda. It is the duty of AMA. Some go to them and take permit. Some are not. So when somebody go to AMA and take permit to come and block a road, can the chief ask the person not to block? No. It is the duty of AMA. They have the power to control the roads, not a chief. Chief can say when they don't respect, it has nothing more to do than AMA who normally give permit or deny a permit. It is their role to either, like my brother was saying, he says when you are going to the Osha clinic, you might see sometimes the road will be blocked. And it was only one way because from Akotolante to Osha clinic, unless you go round all the way to Swalaba before you can come. So when that road has not been given permit to one particular person to come and block, it cannot block it. And it's a duty of AMA, even when we have no control. When somebody mounted a canopy thinking that is having a funeral or outdoory, and one chief went there and said, stop it, and the person didn't stop, the chief cannot do any other thing. It is a duty of AMA to come and find out why did the person block the road. Maybe the person has permit. How did the person got permit? Because it was the same AMA who permit the person to block the road. So when somebody didn't get access to the clinic, it is not a duty of the chief. Now, one person asked of they shoot somebody, and they haven't heard anything. It is under investigation. So chiefs cannot come out and come and say where they have reached and where they are going. It is a pure investigation lies on the police.
What's the communication between the families of the people who lost their lives and the traditional leaders and the police? Is there anything?
Yeah, they are communicating very serious. They are updating them on everything, but they same people have tell them not to broadcast whatever they are information they are getting from everybody. When it's happened like that, then perpetrators will get an information and run away.
So he's saying that traditional leaders are doing their bit. It may not be enough for the citizens, but you're also doing your bit. About blocking of roads, it falls in the jurisdiction of AMA. You have no control over that. This is still Citizens Microphone. We are in Jamestown, the Odododiodoo constituency, to gauge the concerns of the people, what will influence their voter choice come December 7th. I want to hear from one last person, and then I'll come around for quick final thoughts, and then we can go.
And quality MPP can discuss me by me malio. Two when you be near school, I get free education. Free education, can wash a school, me no buy if a free education. Or no room work or be a school, but more hey, ni no pay school fees, no more a simple can hour. One wish, or you know, I know when I get free education. If we don't use Skakaya, Scalo, you get the far. One far boy, expect Akashi, if when you caught the I no. Okaskapi agbene ko temwe mo mwebe eyin mo kula agbo bi o nyeshia school le simple school le be ni nyame yue na ka pepe school le machine sla market e machine agbene London machine won dey machine na me laka wo MPP fe na me laka wo te wo ba fe wo one thing ka me amba na me ko vote me aba fe ni ka fe aba bu t-shirt ke 20 Ghana e ko ba lo ko 50 alo 100 o ba anye follow kata bomba kokwe na lo le no ba tun baba gbebu onuji wo won pa fai e fi aye ko nya ake won pie Ghana ni
t-shirts ke 20 cedi nya pa e momo emi no nya here because if you take it
agbene nwe me ni he amen he si e kwari bo o fi like si president ni ba lo MP ni ba nya wa o no anu bo ba fe mi ni o ba nya se kana kan ona ni agbene ka o nya se na kan ta agbene o te je mo ke esu ebu.
Well, I was just saying that they should stop taking their 20 CDs and their T-shirts. I mean, and they're saying, well, there's no money in the system. But she was also talking about the Semper school abandoned and completed, and the fact that free SHS goes beyond paying school fees. The education is a holistic matter, and then just paying school fees is not enough to cater for the needs of the students when they go to the school. So they need more in terms of feeding and access to books and all that. Right. One last person, and then we wrap up.
Minga nye baneno. Joy news. Noni ba naji. Naga nye me na me you about be na chinkani bi. Nika nkwe na kan be na chin is a once a while. Ikwe me on about chigbe. Shika wo kwe wo enu wo yo. O na ke bomode san eto ni bi ke je hia. Ne kwa ma street be no. Bomode san koshika ika Smith. Nika Smith street be no. Ika nfe ba. Gumode se koshika eka Smith street benu e shike na egbe nu ni anane sare nye kwa nya stop la ke nu mami alo papa no ofi o ehin shini afetu mo ko yu pe afetu ne ko le bomo no yu o be mo ni fe na kan ni o e nchele onu shi it's a wrong thing ko kwa street en kan shi street eda kios ke ba ke ni bi na fe tent na shike mo gbaji an ye e ani gbe efe bibi o ke wo bi ba fo gba mi pole nche ekwe ba fo gba mi mo ko echi tent alon we fe no ko ekwe ke wo fo enu lo le twale onu shi ne ke to be na you about ni ne be na chi o yala ke ni bi ne fine ke je ekwe mi inter me no igale mi no naji je bi ana bun be chi because of gan e se ekwe wo ifa no eku ni sani ekole ahia ke bi ke wo ku ne ba fe nokuwe iba fi ejemi amamu twin ke wo jemi nigbe me yemi onumi shi fine park ji ni yo bi ne kole banya fi yala e no wa be ke park e mo ni egbo e na ba fi yala ana me family house dina kan park e no lu park e ni kan jemi eku ni manche hin ni alu ekole wokuko no ni onye oje ohia no wa fi yala e moku hia she was when she call it no shia yo o fe yala e o shia no shia gbe ni yo je ne call ba shi tente gwe bibio ni wo so no ke ba gbe nu no ba chi o ba shi tente she no ni gba na pe san ni ke ba chi gbe an wo na wole ake o so wa alo so wa working day lo le jin hu no be right ko ba chi gbe Sunday ni gbe kan shi gbe efe free no chi no junu ba je e wa wo ni radon.
Thank you all so much. And he was also talking about building kiosks and shops in front of houses that blocks or reduces the size of the road, that eases flow of citizens and businesses and cars. And that they need prior notice. Maybe they have to inform them that on a Sunday or so, they are going to have a ceremony and they might block the road. So basically access to information on what's happening in the community and so on and so forth. But I do want to ask you, final question before I go. You definitely have to go to the polls on December 7th. Who are you voting for?
My vote is my secret.
Well noted. What about you?
It's a secret.
Oh, we can't all just say it's a secret. I mean, we know your voting pattern, right? From 2000 was the only year that I think NPP won. NDC has won throughout all the elections that we've had. Who is getting it this time?
Odododiodoo, if we vote or we don't vote, we know it's NDC always. They are not, NPP is not doing anything. NDC is not doing anything. If you go out to vote, NDC will win. If you go out not to vote, NDC will win.
Why is that the case? If you vote or you don't vote, NDC will win. Why?
It's because Odododiodoo, the members in Odododiodoo, we are taught and we are learned that it is NDC. So they themselves, the MPs, they are aware that if we were here and then they interviewed our incumbent MP, and then he was asked the new PC coming, which is Honorable Nyashi Kote, the PC for NDC, and then the PC for MPP, who is Manaf. They asked the MP, what do you think? He said NDC is automatically winning. They are looking for the margin.
So
it is at Onua. He was interviewed. He said they are waiting for the margin. They are not waiting for who will win. So automatically.
So do you all agree that this is an NDC zone?
Anukwale. Anokwale nyuma shishi.
Okay. Ben.
I am very sad about what my brother is saying. Very, very, very sad. Because the reason why I say vote is a secret. You don't have to, declare whom you want to vote for. You have to listen to the message of the people who are coming to seek for our vote, and then you decide. So when he says that even when you come out and vote, NDC will win. Even if you didn't come out and vote, NDC will. Does it mean that NDC is always stealing voting from here? No. It's not stealing. That is what they made their mind. And they decided to vote for NDC because of what NDC is telling them. And so when you have now found out that NDC is lying to you, it's about time for us to change our vote and find out who will come and do something better for us. That's all, because as I'm saying, for about 15 years that we are not having water, NDC knows. And they have been coming to power and come and go. They have been not doing anything about it. So why are we still voting for NDC then?
This is Citizens Microphone right in the heart of Jamestown in the Odododiodoo constituency. The citizens are talking about access to potable water, access to good schools. They're talking about jobs for the people, the residents in the community, more education or an explanation as to why they lock the sea and prevent them from fishing, since most of them are fisher folk. So it makes little to no sense to them. And then they're talking about proper regulation in terms of activities or ceremonies in the middle of roads that blocks access for both citizens and vehicles. Thank you all so much for sharing your views with us on Joy News. We are live on Joy News. So this has been Citizens Microphone with me, Sweetie Abochi. Thank you for watching.